Today, we're going to be reading chapter 22, so buckle your seatbelt. It's quite the ride, and we'll see you on the other side. The candy apple red Ferrari glided through the Dutch countryside like a swan on crack. Constantine was beside himself. It was the actual car used by Tom Selleck in the Magnum P.I. series. He licked his chops at the prospect of owning such a prize. That he was considering the purchase of this vehicle was the cause for his extreme elation. It also provided a welcome distraction away from his crumbling empire. He thought about how this would be the final piece to his already astonishing collection. The Zaylon boss gripped the steering wheel with a vengeance. He pictured the private eye behind the wheel, his hands on the very spots Constantine now caressed. Off to the sides, out the windows, he could still see where the devices had been set up for the cameras, the frame of the car touched up with a half-assed paint job. Not that it mattered, he wanted this car, and he would have this car. Next to him, coked up to the gills and riding shotgun, was Yari Fisser, the unruly gangster. To his right-hand man, the Zaylon boss said, "Back in the 90s, the owner of Fun Culture International picked up the Ferrari for £500,000. It was then sold a year later to Theodore Desmarais." Constantine shifted up to fifth and mashed the gas pedal. "Look at her," he cooed. "She runs like a champ." The Sicilian could feel the adrenaline seeping into his veins. "Like a fucking kitten purring," said Fisser, shooting back, petting the dashboard. The unruly gangster continued to pump his fist to rage against the machine gorilla radio, booming from the top-of-the-line Bose system that the owner had installed. Constantine punched the accelerator and watched the speedometer climb. The Sicilian's head also bobbed to the music. "Desmarais wants 200,000. The Zaylon boss said. "The dupe's been looking to sell it for some time. I proposed the trade. Beggars can't be choosers, right?" Fizzer's pupils dilated. He said, "What are we talking about? The money he owes us? Can't he pay in cash?" "Can't even come close," the Zaylon boss informed his second in command. "He has roughly half of the $250,000 he owes us. I figure it's a good deal, though. Although Desmarais says he's opposed to it, he's out of options." "If he tries to back out, let me know. When I'm fucking done with him, he'll be throwing in new tires and rims." Constantine let out a faint chuckle. He knew about Yari's persuasiveness. The two gangsters headed back home from Antwerp, where they had partied with whores all night. As they entered Ternosian, Constantine pressed in the clutch and accelerated the engine. The Ferrari roared, enticing pedestrians to turn and look at the exotic car, a rarity in Ternosian, a sure sign of wealth. By the end of the day, word of the automobile would spread like the swine flu. Constantine thought, "They're all a bunch of jealous fools." He wanted Ternosian to know that he meant business, and this car said it all. He pulled the Ferrari up to the curb in front of the stair. Fisser rolled down the window and gave his stare to a few local street dealers. "I ought to go kick that motherfucker's ass right now, dealing in the fucking road in front of the bubs. Motherfucking gamble humpers." Constantine agreed. "Yeah, they're all trying to take over. Bloody Moroccans, too." A brood surrounded the exotic car. Even Serja, the pub's manager, came out and said, "Where the bloody-o did you find this bloody team?" To Serja, then Fisser said, "You seen those fucking goofballs, Arno and Edwin?" "Ah, yes, lads. The two of them were in for some time, let me tell you. I believe all the blokes have moved down to Porgy and Bess." "If you see them, tell the cocksuckers to get their fucking asses to the villa." The Ferrari peeled off the curb listen, Constantine said to Fisher. In a few days, you and Arno are going to need to head up to Amsterdam and deal with the Turks. We're setting it up right now. If all goes well, the shipment of Naples will arrive next week. The unruly gangster shot the boss a nasty look. For fuck's sake, he said inwardly. The motherfucker's doing it to me again. He knows how I feel about the situation. How can I question him, though? There's no fucking point to it. It'll only cause more problems. No, keep your fucking cool. Constantine noticed that Yari was not pleased. He then heard Yari say, You don't think Edwin and Arno can handle this trip by themselves, do you? There he goes with that attitude again, Constantine thought. Why this? Why that? Well, why doesn't the goon just shut the fuck up and listen? The Sicilian found himself questioning the facts of the murders. Albeit for a few wrinkles, things still led back to the American, and somehow to Rutger, who was now resting comfortably in the morgue. But did the American have it in him to kill? Was he out there somewhere, wondering what to do, scared beyond belief without Rutger's help? The man he killed by mistake? What would you do in his shoes? The Sicilian asked himself. At that moment his thoughts shifted to Jean St. Pierre. He wondered if his hired gun had learned anything from following Hunt's old flame, Hannah Fundenberg. To Yar then, Constantine said, No, I need you in Amsterdam. Arno and Edwin will not be able to handle these people by themselves. In the 16th century, European explorationists discovered a piece of land on the southern coast of South Africa known as Suriname. By the mid-1600s, sugar plantations and refineries sprung up all over the region. Slaves were brought in from Africa to farm the land. The Dutch and the English settlers fought bitterly for control of the area. From 1665 to 1667, the two countries, along with France and Denmark, battled in the Second Anglo-Dutch War. By 1667, the English offered a return to Amsterdam, present-day New York City, to the Dutch in return for Suriname. Over at Porgy and Bess, Arno de Lange, the goofy gangster, was pretending to twang his own guitar as he took in the sights of the sounds of the old club. Edwin the Groat, his partner, stood up and waved at Arno as if to say, Let's get the hell out of here. When the two made it out of the nightclub, Arno looked at Edwin and said, I was just starting to enjoy myself. Me too, but we gotta head to the villa. What do you think's going on? I don't know, but I think there's some serious shit about to go down. When Arno and Edwin arrived for the family reunion, the men were greeted by other family members. No one of significance had made it to the villa just yet. The pawns jostled around the room, waiting for the upper echelon to arrive. Mario came into the room and announced to the men that Yari and the boss would be arriving momentarily. Make sure we have coffee and everything, Hugo Linton, the accountant, said from over at the bar, where he counted money and log numbers into a book. 10 minutes later, Constantine and Yari walked into the living room. Constantine said, Arno and Edwin, I'm glad you could make it. I assume that all is well at the coffee shop. Edwin the Groat, usually the one to inform the boss of happenings, said, I think the clients are getting used to us. A few have asked questions, but nothing we can't handle. No one's been pressing the issue, the Sicilian asked. Just a few people here and there, Edwin replied. Nothing to worry about, though, boss. We got it all under control, boss, Arno said, magazine in hand. Just keep your eyes open, lads. The goofy gangster set his magazine down. He noticed something peculiar about the way Yari was looking at them. Something wrong, Yar? Fizzer's mind dwelled on the upcoming meeting with the Turks. He said to Arno sarcastically, Nah,
Just looking forward to our trip to Amsterdam in a few days.
What, me and you? Arno asked.
That's right. Edwin and Hugo are gonna run the coffee shop for a few days. You going with me?
If you guys enjoyed the video tonight, don't forget to like and leave a comment down below. And over here on this side, you'll find a full reading of Dutch Coffee Shop. Or just hit that little picture of me right there. Subscribe to the channel.